This morning, I was making my coffee and I was picking out which mug I would use. And you might think that who really cares which mug you're using? But I care. I like to pick out my mug and I feel like it kind of sets the tone for the day. Do I want it to be more aesthetic? Do I want it to have a certain message? Do I want it to remind me of things? I collect mugs. I don't have a crazy collection or anything, but whenever I'm really trying to do something or remind myself of something, I do tend to buy a new mug. And when I was dreaming of moving to Santa Barbara, I was buying Santa Barbara themed mugs. And I was also buying LA themed mugs when I was in LA. I loved it there. And, there's a mug that I have kind of as a joke because my husband wants to be a farmer. And I bought him this kind of farmer mug. And one of the categories of mugs that I also definitely have are writing mugs. I have all these mugs about you are a kick-ass writer, writing is magic, careful or, I'll put you in my novel and kill you off. That sort of mug about the writer life. Not only do I sell these on my website, shameless plug, but I definitely use them myself because I was starting to realize that I feel like a mug is one of those non-woo-woo, non-weird feeling ways to constantly affirm your intentions as a writer. Now, many of you have heard of manifesting and intentions and all this stuff, and you might think it's a little bit too woo-woo, a little bit too bohemian, a little bit too out there. But today I really want to talk about affirmations and how they can impact your writing life, and not only how they can do it, but how to do it without feeling weird about it. Because if you're not one of these people who's constantly going to sound baths and meditating, even though I think these things are really helpful and I'm coming to it more as I get older, but if you're not there yet, I still want to try to convince you that affirmations can definitely get you further as a writer because so much of your writing success is based on your mindset. And if your mindset's not working for you, you are not going to get very far. And affirmations can definitely help. So let's talk about non-cheesy ways to use affirmations as a writer to get you further than you ever thought possible. Let's dive right in. If you're a writer dreaming of becoming a successful author, join me, writing coach Karena Akhavein, on the How to Be an Author podcast, your weekly source for writing information, inspiration, and motivation. Hello, thank you so much for joining me on the How to Be an Author podcast. I am your host, writing coach Karena Akhavein, PhD. Now, I might have a PhD in literature, but I like to keep things really simple and really down to earth when it comes to how you can move your writing career forward. I'm not the biggest best-selling author of all time, even though I have had books hit the bestseller list, which is great. And I teach you how to do that. And I'm also kind of that mentor who's maybe just a little tiny bit down the road, a little bit further than you are, but not really. I'm not in my ivory tower. I'm not on some lofty perch trying to lecture you on things that you feel are not really achievable. What I'm trying to do is to get you just a little bit further, just a little bit closer to your goals. And I do it in all these different ways because all writers are different. We're not in a race. We're not all identical. And some things are going to work for you and are going to resonate with you, and some things might not. And that's what's so beautiful about this podcast format. If you start listening and you go, this chick's crazy, move on to another episode, because there is going to be something that you'll be like, hey, you know what? That actually helped. And when I'm working with my clients as a writing coach, the thing I like to hear most is, wow, that actually helped. I can take that and I can use it until our next meeting. And that's really kind of my goal with everything, whether it's my coaching sessions or my online courses. They really are designed to move you forward and to get you going and to get you closer and closer to your writing goals. And I think that affirmations are a part of that, because my 3 pillars are writing craft, writing mindset, and the business of writing. So affirmations definitely feed into that mindset. And they're not just some woo-woo thing. There is a science behind affirmations. So let's discuss. Affirmations can positively influence writers' mindsets by leveraging the principles of cognitive behavioral therapy and neuroplasticity. So let's break down the science behind this. So, when it comes to cognitive behavioral therapy, this is something that some of you might know something about, but it posits that our thoughts influence our feelings and behaviors. That makes sense, right? So, by repeating positive affirmations, we can challenge and change negative thought patterns. This reduces that self-doubt that is one of those things that causes us to self-sabotage as writers, and it reduces anxiety. I think many of us have experienced anxiety. I've done episodes on this. They're so common among writers, this self-doubt and anxiety, and they really, really can absolutely paralyze us. So knowing that simply repeating positive affirmations can actually change your thoughts over time, right? Fake it till you make it. But that really does influence your feelings. And when your feelings are influenced, guess what changes too? Your behavior. And I've talked about those atomic habits, right? By changing your behavior just a tiny bit, you can absolutely change your outcome by a lot. So that's super important. Now, the next concept I want to talk about is neuroplasticity. So the brain has an ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. You know that expression that you can't teach an old dog new tricks? You actually can. And in fact, the more new tricks you learn throughout your life, the more new neural connections you're making throughout your life. And also, the more you can increase the neuroplasticity in your brain. And that's really awesome. Repeated positive affirmations can strengthen neural pathways associated with positive thinking. That makes it easier and easier to maintain a positive mindset over time. And remember that this is practice. So if you are thinking positive and then a negative thought sneaks in, don't worry, all is not lost. Just keep coming at it, and your brain is going to keep growing, learning, and developing in positive ways. But it's super important. Do you see how positive thoughts, I always say thoughts are things, positive thoughts can have a positive outcome. Negative thoughts are also things. If you keep thinking negatively, your chances for success, I truly believe this, they go down. And I don't want that to happen for you. So there's another thing that is the self-affirmation theory. This is a theory that suggests that affirmations can buffer stress and increase problem-solving abilities by reinforcing your sense of self-integrity. That's pretty awesome. You start to be more self-reliant. You start to trust yourself that you're going to find your way out of problems. You start to rely more on yourself. And that in turn cuts down on stress. And I'm often talking about resilience, which sounds like a really horrible thing. Is basically like, yeah, life's going to suck and you just have to face it. Yeah, but resilience, it gets easier and easier. Affirmations can really help maintain the confidence that makes your resilience not so painful. And that's really important. So think about that. Would you want to be more neuroplastic and more positive? Would you like to have positive thoughts that lead to positive behaviors? And would you like to have more integrity and more trust in yourself? I think that sounds pretty awesome. So let's keep on going and talking about how to incorporate these positive affirmations into your life. We're going to talk about different affirmations that you can repeat to yourself, because you're probably like, affirmations, that's great. What am I going to say that doesn't feel stupid, right? I am worthy. I am smart. Like, okay, maybe it feels embarrassing, but don't worry. We're going to talk about different affirmations we can do that sound kind of okay. And also another thing we're going to talk about is unique ways of integrating affirmations into your life, where to display them. Because you don't want to just repeat them. You also want to see them. That's kind of important. You want to integrate and incorporate these positive messages into your daily life. So let's talk about how we're going to do that. So which ways can you incorporate these positive messages into your daily life? I say daily life because affirmations aren't a one and done kind of thing. You can't just have one moment when you're doing these positive affirmations and you're like, yay, that was great, and then you stop. No, this is something that needs to continue throughout your life, throughout your day, throughout your month, so that you can maintain consistency because they keep actually affecting you, as we've seen before when I was talking about the science of these affirmations. So, how do you incorporate these messages into your daily life? You need to do it kind of throughout your day. So, with your morning routine, for example, and I've done podcast episodes on the morning routine for writers or creatives, start your day by reading or repeating affirmations to set a positive tone. And there's another thing. As a writer, I really think very strongly that writing things by hand, that's really powerful. So why not start your day, especially if you journal? Why don't you write a positive affirmation in your journal at the beginning of the day? Write it by hand. That becomes kind of a practice. Be super kind of consistent with how you do that, and also be hyper conscious of how you're writing, the actual ritual of doing that. Also, same thing, when you're having a writing session, have a ritual for that as well. Begin each writing session with a few moments of positive self-talk. Now, this doesn't need to be this whole deep, intense thing. It can just be like, you've got this, girl. That's good enough. You can do that. Or like, hey, today I'm not going to suck. I actually know how to do this. I've got this. Like, that's a really positive affirmation that doesn't feel too woo-woo or too crazy. You can do that. But if you begin each writing session with that, I think that can really affect you, and that can really be super positive. Same thing when you're taking a break during your writing session. What? You don't take a break from your writing session? You must. When you take a break, so remember I talk about setting a timer, Pomodoro technique, you're stretching. The 5-minute break in the Pomodoro technique is almost as important as the 20-minute sprint. So when you're taking that break, take time to stretch, repeat an affirmation or two. Like, that's a great way of just doubling down on your affirmations. And then also end your day with an evening reflection where you acknowledge your achievements and you repeat some more affirmations. There's studies that have been done that say that what you do last thing at night and first thing in the morning, those things really impact you a lot. So that can be super helpful to start your day with positive affirmations and end your day with positive affirmations. Now, in terms of practical tips, because you're probably still thinking, really, how do I do this? Is it really? Listen, here are my tips on how to make these affirmations really work for you. Number one, what I was saying about, is it too woo-woo? Does it feel too crazy? Stay authentic. I don't want you to be choosing affirmations that make you feel disingenuous. So choose affirmations that resonate with you and that feel genuine. Avoid overly grandiose statements that might feel insincere to you. That's, if you're like, I'm the best writer on earth and I'm going to be fabulous and best-selling author and I'm the bestest ever, you're going to feel kind of silly. Now, if that makes you laugh, why not, right? That could be fun to have fun with it. But definitely, I would say that the affirmations that resonate with you and feel genuine and that are authentic to you, they're going to be more helpful over time. Because over time is important. You've got to be consistent. You've got to incorporate these into your daily routine to reinforce positive thinking regularly. It's not a one and done. Another thing that is really, really great, and I've talked about this in the past as well, is combine these with visualization. Pairing affirmations with visualization techniques enhances their impact. So if you imagine yourself achieving your writing goals while repeating affirmations, that's a good thing. Or if you're combining it with making a vision board, and we're going to talk about that in a second, or if you're combining it with, taking yourself on a creative date and looking at things and taking photos, and maybe you can make a poster where you print your photos and you put your affirmations on the poster, like that's cool too. Because I just talked about poster, keep it visible. You want to have affirmations that are things that you repeat, but you also want affirmations that you can see, that are visible throughout your daily activities to keep your mindset positive and focused. And that's where the coffee cups come in. Those mugs are a great way of having affirmations that you see first thing in the morning. Now, I should add that maybe I should make a wine glass that's got affirmations on it too, because that way I would do first thing in the morning and last thing at night. Or maybe put affirmations on my toothbrush. That could be super fun. So before we talk about places where you can put affirmations and ways of doing this, let's talk about some possible affirmations that you might want to adopt for yourself. And if you are a writing coach on demand person, you're going to get a bonus podcast episode where I'm going to send you, actually, it's not going to be a podcast. It's going to be a recording that I'm going to send you. And you're going to be able to download a recording of me giving you these affirmations so that you can listen to them last thing you do when you go to bed. They'll probably put you to sleep. So listen in, because these are the creative writing affirmations that you're going to get in this podcast. If you're not a writing coach on demand person or one of my coaching clients, you can actually just note where this is in the podcast episode and you can jump to it if you want to listen to them regularly. But if not, if you're one of my people, you're going to have a way of getting these all the time so you can reach them when you want them. Let's go with my affirmations. Remember, not all of these are going to resonate, but some of them probably will. My creativity flows effortlessly. I'm confident in my writing abilities. Every word I write is a step towards success. I embrace the process of writing and editing. My unique voice adds value to the world. I'm dedicated to honing my craft. Each rejection is actually a step closer to my goal. My imagination knows no bounds. I find joy in the act of writing. I write with clarity and purpose. My stories resonate with readers. I am proud of my progress. I trust the journey of my writing career. My words have power and impact. I am disciplined and committed to writing. I am constantly improving as a writer. Writing is my passion and my calling. I overcome writer's block with ease. I'm fearless in expressing my thoughts. My writing inspires and entertains. Now, you might feel like these are still a little bit too woo-woo, so you can make it a little funnier. You can say things like, well, my creativity, when I kick it in the butt, it flows. Or my writing abilities are always improving, and that's a good thing. Or, well, one thing I'll say about my voice is it's certainly unique. And hopefully I'll find a way to make it add value to the world. All of these things are positive. As long as you keep them positive, you can incorporate humor, self-deprecation, all of that stuff. But I don't want you to be too self-deprecating because this is about positivity. Now let's talk about unique ways to incorporate and display affirmations, because again, this is a practice. This is stuff that you're going to do every day. This is stuff that I want you to really have on your mind first and foremost, first thing you see in the morning, first thing that you think of when you sit down to write, all of that good stuff. So I talked about the coffee mug. I think that that is such a good idea. And if you want to go to my website, creativeandwritingcoach.com, you can buy one of my coffee mugs, or you can buy a different one that has a writing theme, or you can make your own. That's fun too. But there are free ways of doing this as well. You can, on your writing desk, how about placing affirmations on sticky notes around your workspace? The fun part about the sticky notes is you can play with color, and you also can move affirmations around so that if there's one that's really resonating with you today or this week, you can move it. You can, on a mirror, for example, your bathroom mirror, use dry erase markers to write affirmations on your bathroom mirror, or use lipstick if you want to be dramatic. That's kind of fun. You can create digital affirmations that you can see Every time you use your phone, have them as a screensaver or a phone background. And in fact, if you're one of my clients, I will make you one as well. You'll have that in your materials for this week. If you sign up to be a client coming up in this whole week, and if you get the online course or you sign up for 10 hours of coaching, I will make sure to get you all these things because I know that that's really fun. You can also write affirmations on the first page of any new notebook you have. As a writer, I always get all these new notebooks. I love it. You can do that, or you can buy a notebook that already has an affirmation on the front. You can also do something like an affirmation jar. That's kind of fun. Write an affirmation, write all 20 of them that I gave you, or even more than that. Write them on a slip of paper, place them in a jar, and pick one out every morning to set the tone for your day. Or what about having an affirmation calendar? Just basically a monthly calendar with a new affirmation for each day. And you can use that as your writing prompt as well each day, which is kind of fun. Or you can think about your character, how they would relate to that affirmation. You can dedicate a bulletin board to your affirmations. And in fact, you can create a vision board. I am super huge fan of vision boards. I love them. You can combine your affirmations and visual goals and images on a vision board and put that somewhere where you can see it. That's where it's most powerful. I love this idea of affirmation stones. So paint affirmations on little pebbles or stones or shells. Keep them on your desk or even in your pocket as tangible reminders of what you're committing to. I also like the idea of having something right on your computer screen that you move in the morning, basically forcing you to read your affirmation before you get going. You can even have a digital photo frame with a slideshow of affirmations, and that's sitting on your desk. You can have a whole wall of your office with affirmations. It's a lot less cheesy than the live, laugh, love. You can have an affirmation bracelet. You can have it be one of those rubber bracelets, with kind of an engraved affirmation or something with beads on it that you make yourself. Or you can be one of these people who wears these different bands on their wrist and they move them over throughout the day as they do things. That's kind of cool as well. But definitely you want to have it be something that you're thinking about, right? You can create posters, which is kind of fun. I mean, they're kind of cheesy. Make it really cheesy if you want to. And then, of course, there are even apps that you can use that send you daily affirmations and reminders. But I really like the idea of this being kind of self-powered, where either you decided which affirmation you're going to focus on today, or you picked it randomly, but kind of manually out of that jar. Or you can even do voice memos where you do what I just did, where you record yourself reading your affirmations and play them back during breaks or before writing sessions. I think that's such a fun way of doing it. And if you have another cool way of incorporating affirmations into your writing life, let me know. Send me an email at karena@spalmorum.com and reach out to me. Tell me how you're doing with your writing. Tell me if I can help you as a writing coach. Tell me if you're stuck. You can do a free 15-minute call with me to see how I can best help you, whether it's the course or whether it's hiring me as a writing coach, hour by hour, whatever that looks like. We're all different, but I'm sure there's a way that I can help you. And remember, I pride myself on actually giving you actionable help in that 15-minute session. You're going to walk away from that already feeling better and like you can keep moving forward. Hell, I might even actually convince you to do those affirmations, but I think they can be super helpful, super positive. I've been incorporating them myself and I'm trying to do it more and more because none of us are perfect, but trying is a good start. So thank you so much for joining me on the How to Be an Author podcast. I look super forward to being with you next time and to seeing you all in office hours, etc., etc. And I'll talk to you next week. If you have any pressing writing-related questions or would like to be featured on the How to Be an Author podcast, please feel free to reach out on my website, creativeandwritingcoach.com.